Hey guys, it's Sucha here. It's been a little bit harder to get on the camera lately. Been going through some low waves, and a few weeks ago I did do a life catch-up. But today I'm making a happy recipe. I'm making French toast, and it's really gonna be a really awesome American meal, but the healthy version of it, because everything we're sourcing is real food, it's intentional, and the ingredients we're using for the French toast and side of bacon is gonna be delicious. We're actually gonna be cooking the French toast in the grease from the pasture-raised bacon as well. But before diving into that, just wanted to kind of let you know the headspace I'm in, taking a step back and observing myself. I think I'm just really taking this time of integration, feeling so much that I've had to let go of last year, and then feeling myself actually shift. I don't know if it's personality, but definitely shifting my pace and the way I'm operating at. And another word for this, you could call it recalibration. But because of that, I'm not feeling the same energy that I was, and it's a way different shift for me to notice myself in. It's way harder to pick up a camera. I'm really grateful I have help today to get this video filmed, because this is a recipe that's genuinely making me really happy to make and to nourish with, but I also want to still show up on here, but not with a forceful way. I want to feel good about showing up and never having to try to adhere to a social media schedule or content creation or just that way of showing up. I want to show up in my honest energy, and operating in my honest energy has been a big theme of mine lately. So come on over and I'm going to show you the ingredients that we're playing around with today, and then I'll also take you through the actual recipe and we'll chat a little bit as I'm making the food. We got sourdough bread here, and so usually with French toast, if you get it at a restaurant or wherever, you don't really know what bread you're working with. This is organic sourdough bread, and here in San Diego where we live, there's a place called Prager Brothers, and they have some great organic bakery items, but the sourdough bread is definitely something I love. I don't have it every week, but I would say once a month I've been reincorporating and really healing my relationship with bread. So this is where that sourdough bread comes from, that artisan bread. I got organic pasture-raised eggs. We got a really nice maple syrup. And then I've already put out 2 slices of bacon. These are organic pasture-raised bacon. So we're gonna start off by just turning on the pan. I've got a stainless steel pan here. I was really excited and happy about this investment. And I'm just gonna put on the bacon here, and it'll just take a little bit of time to warm up. And I'm not actually putting anything on here. Like, the bacon already has so much fat, so as long as you move it around, it'll start oozing out that really nice bacon grease. And then once the bacon is like semi-cooked, then I'm gonna start putting the French toast on here. But right now, while that's going, I'm going to crack an egg in here. And honestly, for this, you don't really need more than 1 egg unless you're making multiple slices of French toast. So it's just gonna be really light. So typically I would put some cream if I have any cream, but I don't. So the egg itself will do, but what I am gonna do is put some really nice cinnamon in there. So I've got organic ground cinnamon, and that's really gonna make that nice cinnamon French toasty flavor. Just gonna sprinkle that cinnamon, and then a tiny bit of salt, because I do like saltiness, and electrolytes. We got the Redmond Real Salt. That's really what it's all about. We're just gonna stir that, whip it up, get it all good. I got some tongs in here. Gonna flip that bacon, and then you can see all this grease is oozing out. Animal fats are so essential. Saturated fats, don't be scared of them. This is really where you're gonna get that nourishment, that feeling of satiety. Satiety is such a key word, but you just want to feel so nourished and satiated. So I'm kind of like pushing this bacon all over the pan. It's greasing everything up. Before I even dip the bread in my egg, I actually like toasting it a bit in the bacon grease. So got 2 beautiful slices of sourdough. Bacon's cooking on the side. I like to kind of slow cook, especially In my studio that I have right now, I do have an electric stove. My ideal is a gas stove, but kind of like low and slow is usually safe. All right, so what I'm doing here, I actually place the slices of bread on top of the bacon just to soak up that grease. And these are ready to just rest for a second. I'm gonna move around that bacon, flip it again. The bacon's coming along. I don't like my bacon too crispy, but you know, I like it cooked through. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the full-on French toast part. Depending on what kind of bacon you have, you might get a little bit of grease or you might get a lot of grease. This bacon, I feel like it's not giving me as much grease. So I do have some organic Strauss butter, and I'm gonna put some of that. And honestly, French toast should be pretty buttery. Putting a generous amount of butter. So while that's doing its thing, I'm gonna take my bread. It's gonna be dipped in this egg situation here. And that really nice eggy bread's just gonna go right on that butter. Oh, it gets all the cinnamon. This is so great. Okay, but want a good amount of egg, but not too much egg because I don't want it to be like an omelet. And then I'm gonna get that there. So the reason I like toasting the bread beforehand is because then it's not totally soggy. You still want some crispness, and then it gets, you know, moisturized with fertility, and then we can put it on the butter. And then in just a few seconds, I'm gonna flip the bread after it heats up just a little bit. I really like to go for that like goldeny brown consistency. So also an update, I'm eating definitely animal-based. Like literally majority of my food is grass-fed, regenerative ground beef, but I've been really open to trying out different foods, and part of the reason I've been going through some waves emotionally is because changing so many things that I thought were in my truth, and actually they were probably in my truth a few months ago or a few years ago, the way I was training, the way I was eating, how I was operating my day-to-day, but because so much of those are shifting, it's literally like, whoa, who am I? Like, I'm not identifying myself sometimes, especially sometimes around new people, like that anxiousness comes up, or even with current friends who've seen me through my process, but I'm like, hey, I'm like a new version of myself, and this is scary sometimes. And I'm gonna flip these guys. It's a hard transition. Oh, look, that's like literally perfect. That's how I want it. It's hard because I'm like, dang, I'm not really recognizing this part of myself. And I had a really good conversation with a friend, and she was saying a lot of times we have so much happening mentally, emotionally, spiritually, even at a soul level, but then we also have different things happening physically. And I really want to get into another video about it. I did make a video about my boobs growing and just everything, but just my entire body transforming, and even transitioning. So much of what I'm wearing has been a transition. And so physically, changes are happening in this body, in this vessel that we get to be in. And if we're not giving ourselves the time to actually sync up everything in here to everything in this physical realm, then that's where we can have maybe anxiety or different things manifest that feel trapped. And so I'm setting that intention for myself going forward to really let everything in my body, in my temple, in my mind sync up. And you know, I recently started working full-time. I still have such a desire to create content like this and spend time in relationship and spend time with friends and family and just show up in all of the roles I play. But I need to spend more time in that sync up. So that's a big intention for me, and that will allow me to operate more in my honest energy. Because when I'm not being so mindful with that, I'm not taking time for the sync ups, then that's when the mindlessness happens. That's when I say yes too much. That's when I'm not actually checking in with myself, and it can turn into resentment and frustration with other people. And oh my gosh, look at this. If you guys haven't tasted this maple syrup, it's literally, it's so good. Okay. The amazing human that's filming this gets to have some too, so we are both very excited. Oh, this is the best breakfast in the whole wide world. This is why this is a happy recipe today. And so Moral of the story is, although you're going through all the transitions and the waves of life and stuff, take the time to sync up, take the time to do the things that make you feel happy, and never do anything just because society's pushing that on you. So another big thing has been the theme of really trying to move slower, because I sometimes feel the rush of everybody, and I had a friend actually tell me, I think you're supposed to move a lot slower, like slower is your calling. And I feel that. I feel that that's my innate nature, my earth energy, but it's easy to get rushed by everybody, and so it's really up to us to stand by that. That's the real respect that you're giving yourself when you can honor your honest energy. So bon appetit. I hope you get to try this breakfast. It's so nourishing, it's so delicious. Thank you and goodbye.